All right, quickly, one more thing. I totally forgot to tell you before
What we got?
because we were just talking behind the scenes before we came on.
Yeah.
So Kathy, it's so great. Kathy still reads the newspaper every morning. Like it
Right
shows
on.
up on the front step, and she goes and gets it and reads the newspaper.
It's the
I
whole
love
tactile
that.
thing, right? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
I just love that. So yesterday, in yesterday's paper, look at, well, you probably won't be able to see this because my camera front page. This is the Charleston Post and Courier.
The
So
Post and Disturber.
front page. Can you see it? It's a
Yeah,
big, huge article about cornhole.
and that's from the HQ right there. That
Yeah,
picture.
yeah, great article. So I know a few people
Who did they
at the
interview
news.
though?
Um, I know a few people at the newspaper. I've never heard of this guy before. Lamar Stansel is his name, but
Check.
the
See who
Post and
they
Courier.
interviewed.
He interviewed. There's a couple quotes in here from Trey, and then
Okay.
he also interviewed the mayor of Rock Hill.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah, it's
That's
nice little article. I mean,
that
nothing
is
huge
awesome.
and in depth. Kind of goes over how the game is played and how many players there are and the growth of it, and kind of touches on the everyone's fascinated by the COVID story still and how it's the
Sure.
only thing on TV. So, but nice. I mean, nice pub.
Hey man,
He didn't call
always
me, of
good.
course. I mean, I'm sitting right here. I mean, the Post and Courier is just like 3 miles away, but
Yeah, no big deal.
I am right here
I
if you
talk
need me.
about it a lot on TV, man. If you want to talk to me, but no big deal. I'm right here.
That's why I guess I'll just call Trey.
Yeah, I mean, we could meet for a drink and talk about it. It'd be fine. But whatever.
No, that's fine. You call Trey. Call Trey. That's fine. Everyone calls Trey all the time. Trey.
Yeah. Poor Trey.
No, but it's pretty cool. Pretty cool to. So Kathy came into my office. She's like, "Look at this." So it's pretty cool.
That is awesome. And good for her for reading the paper, even though, destroying all the trees. But there's something tactile that, like, people that read books, and we can get into segue into my travels and talk about books. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people have Kindles, Kindles is kind of old school now, but you can read everything on whatever device that you own nowadays. But I think it's kind of cool that books are still out there.
I actually, you bring up Kindle. Actually, that was her birthday was last month, and I got her the Kindle. Kind of I shouldn't say, you're right. They are a little bit old school, but they have the new generation, the ones that actually look like books.
Right.
It's that kind of paper white, I think is what they call it. It actually looks like the color of the book and the ink and everything.
Cool. Yeah.
So she likes that, but I like that she reads the paper. It's kind of fun.
I like that she reads. I wish I was a better reader.
What were we talking about before we came on? We were talking about sales. We were talking
about sales, production, and really getting into. I was going to get into that, like when a company starts to get bigger and it starts to kind of have divisions.
Yeah.
Like you've got a content, you've got a content group, a marketing group, you've got your production group, like all that kind of stuff. It's just kind of funny how, I don't know if rivalry is the best word for it, but everyone kind of starts to think that their job is the most important job, right?
Yeah.
And then there's
in the corporate world they call those silos,
right? And
you have to try and avoid that.
Yeah, the conflict is. I think we're experiencing that. And I think it's part of the growing pains of the company.
Well, and let me ask you this too. Sorry to interrupt, but I mean, how different? By the way, welcome to BoarderLine.
Yeah. Well, welcome to our conversation.
Yeah. Just jump right in whenever you want. Just feel free. I think everyone needs to remember too that like everyone's just got to breathe, right? This is tough because we have condensed a huge schedule now, and maybe even added some events this year into a little bit shorter time frame. It feels like. Like, I mean, we've got we had the national, and then we waited a long time, and now it's national.
Yeah,
And
we had two nationals
in there, so I wonder how much that kind of plays into it too. It's a little stressful right now.
Yeah, we had two nationals done by St. Patrick's Day the last few years, and now those two nationals got pushed into this travel period, and it's been hectic. I think you're right. I mean, I think it's for a lot of people. I mean, me included, and I don't do half the work of a lot of people, but it's just it wears on you, man. It grinds you down. Just always on the road, always in a different hotel bed. You're just, I don't know. It kind of wears on you. And I think people are kind of starting to get sick of each other, and they're sick of, the divisions. Like, they're not helping us do this, and they're not helping us do that. And it's like, well, I mean, everyone kind of has a role, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, we should be helping each other, but it's
I think a lot of people don't understand who, if you're just a casual cornhole fan and you like the show and watch the show, is just the amount. And you know what? Even some of our players, I'm not sure a lot of people, Bernie, understand the amount of time and literally blood and sweat.
No idea.
Tears, but maybe sometimes, but blood and sweat that goes in behind the scenes to get everything set up. From the ballrooms of the convention centers, just with the qualifying, and then to the broadcast. I mean, just the broadcast court in and of itself. Live TV. I mean, I know because I've been doing it for a long time. It doesn't matter whether it's football, baseball, basketball, or cornhole. Live TV is a beast, dude. I mean, it's hard. It is hard work to set all that stuff up and lay all the wires and all the cords, for the audio and for all the cameras, not to mention the court. I mean, it's and the LED signs now and the truss. I mean, it's a lot of intensive labor.
Yeah, it is. It is very much so. And like you and I were talking right before we came on, and you had a great industry term for what's happening with what's going on for us. We're starting to have silos within our company. And that's just such a great term because it really does describe it, because everyone's in their silo and no one's really seeing each other. Right. And I wouldn't say, no, it is causing some rifts. I think there are some definite rifts, but I think it's part of growing things. I think any company that's gone from having 5 people that did everything to where we are now in 2 years, 2.5 years.
Yeah.
That's not a long time.
Yeah. It's so young.
And
it's funny because the ACL plays like it's big, right? I mean, we play like a major sport because we've got the ESPN deal and the CBS deal. So we play like we're a larger sport, but behind the scenes, we're minor league baseball. I mean, shoot, as a broadcaster,
we're A-League baseball.
Yeah. I mean, as a broadcaster, when I was in Greensboro and when I was in Erie, in single A and double A, I'm up there, and I'm there preparing my charts just like I always do. And all of a sudden it starts to rain and I'm like, oh shit, I got to go pull tarp. It didn't matter who you were or what you did. We had our little silos and our responsibilities, but yeah, I mean, it's minor league baseball. You got to roll up your sleeves, and we all went down and rolled tarp. And same thing kind of with the ACL. Like, yeah, I mean, we play big, but behind the scenes, everyone still needs to help each other because we just don't have enough. And I say we like I'm a part of it. I'm just a broadcaster, but there's just not enough staff to. I mean, because they're so new still.
And it's funny. It's like certain groups want everyone to help them, but they can't really help with the other stuff. So essentially, what you're asking for is everyone to help you because yours is the most important in your mind, and the rest of us just don't get your help.
Yeah.
Right. And like that's when they're doing what they need to be done. And I don't know. It's just for me, because I kind of float around, I guess, a good bit within the company, which is kind of funny. Yeah. I guess I've always been that kind of person.
You're like a Swiss Army knife.
Well, and not even that makes me sound way more important than I am. But I mean, I can help do this. I can help do that. But I'm not like defined by a role, I guess. I mean, I don't know, like if, hey, you need some help with this, I can help with this, but it's not really what I do normally, but if you need help doing it, I'll help. But I feel bad for certain people because they're getting stuck. And we talked about Trey. I think Trey's getting stuck in some really awkward positions as we grow. And, basically Stacey's gotten to a point where he is kind of elevated and really untouchable with a lot of things, right? Because what he's doing on the day-to-day is just so removed from what the rest of us are doing. Right. So you're not getting that person to help. So Trey is kind of that, that conduit between that position of Stacey and the rest of us. And then he has his own group, right? He's got his own silo that he's having to deal with. And so I feel bad.
Trey with the content team?
Yeah. I mean, he's got his content and marketing team. I mean, that's his own silo, but then.
And sponsorships. I mean,
sponsorships. And then he's got people coming at him from production saying, we need your people to help and blah, blah, and it just, I feel bad. I feel like an avalanche kind of gets thrown on top of him, but I feel like an avalanche is thrown, like you were saying earlier, the production team, the amount of work that those folks are doing that our players don't know who they are. Right. Yeah. I would say 90% of our players have no idea who Curtis and Daniel are.
I was just going to say the same. And I hate to just mention those two because there's many more behind the snes, but those guys work their butts off.
Yeah. I mean, Daniel's more our employee now. Curtis is still a Tupelo Raycom guy, but he's kind of our Tupelo Raycom guy. Right. But there's just so much work. What Kat does is, I think, kind of undescribable, the amount of stuff that we kind of have her do during broadcasts and during tournaments.
Another Swiss Army knife.
What Josh does to get the tournament set up and running and all that. I mean, I kind of show up, talk with Wally a little bit, on a streaming thing, maybe take down a little pipe and drape, fold some drape a little bit. Like, I see
you do quite a bit of hands-on stuff behind the scenes.
Yeah, sometimes, and then it depends.
Yeah.
And so talking about this, I feel bad sometimes because, Stacey and I grew up together. We're still really close friends. And sometimes he's like, hey, let's go do this when we're there. Tournament doesn't start till Friday, so let's go do this. And it's like
forgetting that you have.
Well, it's not that I have those specific responsibilities. It's just if I'm not there helping, then I'm the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
Like they don't expect him to help, but they kind of expect me to help. So I don't know. It's an interesting. It's
my
first world problems, man. First world problems.
Something I've noticed with Stacey this year is that I almost feel like he's become like, the lead singer in a rock band.
Yeah.
Like he has so many responsibilities now. Like when I left him in Cleveland, for Erie, he and I drove together to Cleveland because he wanted to fly out of Cleveland because he had to go to California. I mean, it was this big time executive.
Oh, out in Santa Barbara, yeah.
Yeah, out in Santa Barbara. So he had to go to California, and then there was another appearance he had to go to. Then another appearance. So I almost feel like Stacey's become like the lead singer of the band, where they just have to parade him around. To talk to a bunch of people and make appearances and do interviews. And now Trey has become like the band's manager. Like he's the one back at the desk, right? Like managing everything behind the scenes.
Yeah. Josh and Kat are
the ACL traveling rock
lead
show.
guitarist and drummer. Like so they're doing all this stuff, not feeling respected at all because the lead singer's out here doing that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Lead singer's getting all the attention. He's getting all the love, doing all the interviews. And the drummer's sitting back there like, shit, man.
No
one ever wants to talk to me.
I'm killing myself. I'm losing weight back here every night.
And Trey's the manager. Trey's just the manager behind the scenes making it all happen.
That's funny. I mean, actually, I've heard it mentioned several times. We're more like a rock show than we are a cornhole tournament.
Yeah, Kat was telling us that. I mean, when it comes to logistics at arenas, or whatever at our event venues, yes. I mean, we're classified more as a band and a rock show than anything else.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm glad that people don't know exactly what goes on, because I think they would kind of lose their minds, because there are times, and once again, you're talking about live TV, and the world is world's not perfect. Things happen completely out of your control, and if they happen while you're going through live TV, I mean, you'll come back behind, backstage or whatever, and everyone's losing their minds. It's because they're putting out fires that keep popping up. And so that's why players, if you watch the show, why people might get a little upset if you're not back there ready to get mic'd up, if you're kind of taking your time doing certain things. Like, people are going nuts to make this happen, and it has to happen on time.
Yes.
Like, you can't just, what's the difference? 15 minutes, right?
Yeah.
I mean, stuff has to happen.
It's got to be on time. Yeah, it's a very small window that everything has to fit into.
Yeah, so it's nuts,
I mean, it has to run like clockwork behind the scenes.
It has to.
And there are a lot of people really stressing out to make sure that that happens.
So when you decide to go to the bathroom or to grab a drink or whatever and come rolling up, like, they're probably not going to be happy with you.
Yeah.
So
can I just go grab a picture with it? No,
you
can't.
That's why they're
on stage
not happy
in 20 seconds.
Not because they're jerks, but it's because stuff has to happen a certain way. And I feel it's nuts, man. It really is.
I remember doing so one thing first. One of my favorite stories of all time in the show was told by Kat last year at the National in Chicago.
Oh yeah.
Where the fire marshal was watching cornhole, is watching our broadcast on TV, and all of a sudden saw some things he didn't like, and literally got off his couch and came firing down to the venue to try and shut us down. And so Kat and Curtis and whoever else behind the scenes, yeah. And the players, and you're right, the players would know, and us, I mean, we would never know that. But he literally wanted to shut us down. I thought that story from Kat, I mean, funny now, at the time, not funny, but
because I mean, he, now I doubt he watches this show, but that's a little bit of a guy on a little bit of a power trip, right? Because he can't. But when he got there, he realized, dude, this is not a fire hazard. You're not seeing it right. There's anyway, but it's
when it goes back to your point. Apparently he saw that it seemed like a little bit dark, but you have to have a minimum type of minimum lights that are available, and he wasn't counting our stage. And
Right.
that's what makes it, and that's what makes us categorize more as a rock show, because the lights on our truss actually count for the amperage or whatever in the building that is allowed. So whatever. But that was a crazy story. But there's always, I feel like there's always stuff like that.
There's always something like that, right? Yeah. And then like you and I have talked about Superhole and how kind of like herding cats that can be at times, because these are celebrities that are kind of on their time. Right? They're kind of doing what they want to do. And that's why it was so great. The Buffalo Bills guys, you can tell team sport people, right? Hey, coach, you tell me where to be, I'm going to be there. So it was like pretty simple with those guys. But,
let me know. Let me know where I need to be. Yeah.
You tell me what's my position, what's my role, I'll do it. But it's funny when you get some TV stars that, hey, I do what I do, man. It's funny.
Real quick. Speaking of Superhole and really not so much Superhole, but last weekend in Mesa, Gina Ramirez. Where the heck did that come from? Like, this is truly a name and a face that I don't think I had ever really researched or seen before. So congratulations.
Started the season in PDC.
She gets the qualifier on the women's singles side.
Yeah, started the season as a PDC player, was able to get moved up because some people had to leave, blah, 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 right? She gets moved up and she's staying down the middle. None of it seems too big for her, which good for her, man. Now, look, if you want me to be honest, as great as I think Gina Ramirez is, and I actually think she could be very good for the game beyond just her play, I think Cameron kind of, in my opinion, I think Cameron felt, I've got a PDC player here, I'll just go ahead and win. And I don't know if she gave her, I don't know if she was locked in as much as she needed to be locked in. And she had another bag change. And don't get me started on bag changes. I could go, I think that's the one argument that I won't listen to pros on. I usually tend to have their side on a lot of things. I would say 90% of the time, I get where they're coming from. We don't have a sport without the athletes participating, correct? I mean, right. This rule is not new. Right? I mean, it's been around for a few years now. You should be proficient with the same. I mean, you should have 3 or 4 colors, in my opinion, of your series that you're proficient with.
So did Cameron have to change her bags?
Yep. She had to change her bags. Gotcha. And also, I mean, there was a couple people that had to change their bags. And look at it, I get it. Hey, I play with these all day. But I mean, I get it. But it's not a new rule, guys and girls. It's not new.
Yeah.
It's on you to develop that kind of feel with different colors of your bag. It's just on you. It's 100% on you. So, and I'm sure your bag manufacturer sponsor will give you whatever you want. Right?
Oh yeah, just got to break
them in.
You
can have 20 colors of that bag.
Yep. I mean, we use the analogy with baseball. I mean, you get a new mitt, you get new shoes. I mean, there's all kinds of things in other sports that there are multiple things that other players in other sports have to break in all the time. So if you have to break in a new mitt, break in a new set of bags, it's just what you have to do.
It's on you. Yeah. And
all right, I'm bored. I'm bored talking about cornhole.
Let's move on.
Although, actually, I'm not. Just real quick, Mark Richards, dude, wow. I mean, of course, the one event that I miss, he actually gets the win in pro singles.
But, another bag change. Hunter Thorne had to change bags.
Interesting.
And but I mean, once again, it's on you, player. Yep. But yeah, Mark, you and I have talked about it. I always feel like Mark tries to outlast people. And so that's why I don't think he's had the amount of success in shootouts.
But he gets it done.
But he finally gets it done. I mean, look, I don't think there's a player that plays cornhole that really ever wants to play Mark Richards.
No, I totally agree.
Because of
how
totally
he is. Messed up my power rankings, by the way. My power rankings, they just flipped on their head.
Mine didn't really.
After what I've seen over the last couple of weeks.
I mean, my number 8's a fun one always.
Oh, I can't wait to do it.
I get to throw whomever in there, but yeah.
So Mark wins, and Tony picks up another win. Tony Smith.
Tony Smith is probably
wow.
He's probably the best player on the planet right now.
He's really.
Oh, Jeff.
He's trending nicely.
Thank you for saying his name, because as soon as he said this to me, I thought your name was the literal first name that popped into my head. So
what happened?
We're sitting there watching Hunter Thorne, and Tony's kind of standing near me, kind of in between, right? Like we're watching that match.
Yeah.
And I turned to him. I was like, dude, what's going on with you right now, man? You're out of your head. He's like, quote unquote, I'm a different man, Bernie. Went to faster bags.
Yes. Hashtag slide game.
But
Trey hates when I do that. Anytime I put hashtag slide game on a tweet, he'll never like it or retweet.
But to his point, what he was saying was he can still flip it over and play as dirty as you want to play.
Sure.
And he didn't go fast like
which is necessary.
Yeah, and he didn't go fast like he's not playing with really slick, fast bags. They're kind of a medium.
Yeah.
But it allows him to slide more, and if he wants to make 40 straight bags, he can do it. But if he wants to all of a sudden decide, all right, I'm blocking, he'll turn it over and just play the block game. But I mean, he's like, I needed to make more bags, and it's great that he understood that.
You know who else just turned off the podcast? Anthony Ione. He's like, shit, I'm not listening to this.
Well, I mean, Anthony's right about most everything he says regarding Cornhole, but this is not, I think he was a little off saying this was going to be the year of the dirty game, but it still is to a degree. Like when you look at the players that are at the top, JBJ, even Alex Rawls, obviously Mark Richards, and a few other, I mean, look at Hunter Thorne, his rise, Tony Smith. These are guys that can all play dirty. Right. And they have the ability to play. But if you want to make 24 straight bags, they can do that with you too.
Yeah, I love it.
And you and I, I think you and I, even though we're not the most cornhole centric people in the world, you and I were the first ones saying it's going to be a 5-tool player that takes the game to the next level. Yeah. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing that maturation into that. So
I love that. At the end of the day, the name of the game is to put bags in the hole. It's been that way for 100 years or whenever the hell this sport started, and it will be that way to the end of the time. Yeah. If you want to win, you got to put the damn bag in the hole, and you got to be great at it. So, and Tony's getting great at it. I mean, well, I shouldn't say get. He's already been.
I don't, and like talking with Trey last night. I mean, I don't know if anyone's playing better on the planet in that game right now. I mean, he's just.
I bumped him up quite a bit in my power rankings. Not as high as maybe I wanted to.
Do you realize he's barely top 20 rankings wise?
Yeah, just because it's just the two. That's why I'm really interested to see him. Yeah. We'll talk more about this in a little bit because we got another topic we're going to hit. But I can't wait to see if that maturity carries over to the national this weekend, because like you talk about all the time, and I totally agree with you. Nationals are just different. So that's kind of a little teaser for our segment coming up in a little bit. But so speaking of us not being as cornhole centric, I am so thankful for cornhole in my life this time of year, because I was listening to Steve Zabin is another guy who I listen to, a radio sports talk show guy. Man, it's tough right now. I mean, it's tough for sports talk show guys. It's that awful time of year, June and July, where it's really, no one cares about baseball yet. The NBA is, some people
and
like
it's a terrible final.
I'm only watching because I'm putting money on it.
It's a terrible final for the NBA. I mean, if you're a Denver fan or Miami fan, you're loving it, but it is terrible for the NBA because I can't wait to see what the ratings are. I'm imagining they're not going to be great.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just by default because there's nothing else really on. Really even with the hockey, a lot of times I'll watch the Stanley Cup, but I mean, it's cool that Vegas has a team. And it's kind of cool that Miami has a team, in the NBA finals and in the Stanley Cup finals, but it's not really like sexy teams. It's not like the New York Rangers,
That's what I'm saying.
The Blackhawks or something like that.
That's exactly what I'm saying. And it's it's awful for the NBA to have Denver and Miami, because this isn't the LeBron James, Dwayne Wade Miami, right? That had so much star power that you felt like you had to watch. I like Jimmy Butler. I love Jimmy Butler. Would want a Jimmy Butler on my team, but is he going to draw fans? The Joker might be good for the NBA in Eastern Europe, right? But I don't know if that's really enough star power to get the average American sports fan to tune in.
Yeah. But anyway, so just slim pickings right now. Like we cannot get football season here fast enough. You know what's interesting? I am a NASCAR fan, and I think NASCAR I was kind of texting with Stacey about this the other day. And I probably should have texted with Trey, but I noticed on Memorial Day weekend, dude, there was nothing on TV. Like as a sport, and I don't know, maybe it's just a fluke, but maybe next year making the schedule, we should earmark Memorial Day weekend. Like cornhole could have owned the airwaves on Memorial Day weekend. I'm telling you, there was nothing on TV. But NASCAR, it's interesting how NASCAR, I feel like NASCAR is trying to position themselves as kind of the summertime Like, if you're waiting for football season, watch us until football season starts.
Hey, man, who drives the 24 car now?
William Byron,
Charlotte Country Day School. Let's go.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, his dad was like 3
Dude's
years
a
older than
stud.
me in school. Yeah.
Yeah, he's really doing well. But yeah, I mean, there's just not a whole lot. So again, I'm so thankful for cornhole. I mean, my world used to be dominated by baseball. So, I was busy in the summertime anyway. But then when I got out of baseball and into TV, man, the summers were just like long.
Isn't it amazing
how we got cornhole now?
How football has done its best to become year round. They have.
I know, and it just won't take. Have you watched? I mean, I'm gonna guess between the XFL and the USFL, Bernie. I've watched. I will say, on a high end, and this may shock people. On a high end, I've maybe watched a grand total of. Okay, I'll go with an hour, but I don't even think it's an hour of total watch time.
I would say I'm right there with you.
The USFL and the XFL. I've tried, and I can't do it.
I had this inner conversation with myself, and this is so funny you brought this up. I love watching football. In football season, I watch Nevada play San Jose State in an 11 o'clock game on a Saturday night, right? I watch that.
Yeah.
And I can't get myself to watch it. And I don't know if it's just ingrained in me that this just simply isn't football season.
Is it? Right? Do you think it is? I don't know.
That has to be part of it for me. Because I've watched bad football during football season because I love football, right? But here it is, May, June. But I know in July, I'm literally going to be like a heroin addict tapping on my arm because I need my fix because I know football's right around the corner. But yet,
maybe it is. Maybe we're just programmed. Maybe it's just ingrained in our brain.
100%. Because otherwise,
I cannot do it. I've tried. I've tried, and I even have like a inner conflict with myself. I'm like, why do you not like this?
Exactly. That's so funny. We're sports nerds because I've had the same conversation. Like I'm changing the channel again, going, I just don't feel like watching that. Yeah. Right. And I would watch a terrible football game on a Saturday or Sunday in the fall.
Yeah. I know. I don't get it.
Crazy.
I don't get it. All right. So, hey, do you want to, because I'm afraid if we don't start talking about this, because this could take a little while to talk about. I'm afraid if we don't start this topic, because we got to do this and then we have to do our top 10 still.
Sure.
So we figured that this week, and I really don't like to have this conversation because it sounds really negative, but yet it's a very sports talk thing to talk about. And so I think our sport has risen to the level where someone needs to address it, but it's the best player to not win X. Right. Choose your sport, whether it's golf, best player to never win a major. That's probably one of the most popular ones, right?
Yeah.
Best player like Charles Barkley, right? Best player to never win an NBA championship. I mean, I think our sport now has got to that level, especially now that we're keeping track of everything, which I love. Best player to not win X. Mm-hmm. And so you and I were talking about this, and we thought, let's just do it. Let's just have a discussion and see if we can figure out in cornhole best player to never win a major in cornhole. And by major, we're defining that for the time being as a national singles win, doubles national win, world championship singles win, or world championship doubles win. So best player to be shut out in all four of those major categories. I realize we call them nationals and worlds, but you get it. When we say best cornhole player to never win a major, who is that? Who is that in our sport?
By the way, folks at home, it kills the ACL brass that Jeff continues to call it same major.
Does it really?
Yes, because there's another organization that uses that word for those events.
Yeah, but all right, okay, I get that. However, going back to our sports analogy from just 45 seconds ago, it's not only ingrained in me what a major is, it's ingrained in every American watching.
But I don't call tennis's Grand Slams majors. I call tennis's Grand Slams because that's what they call them.
Yeah. I just think that national, and this is just me. I get it. I just think that nationals is a little bit confusing because when we talk about a national champion, that's not,
I get you. I understand what you're saying because a national championship is one tournament.
It's college stuff.
I get where you're coming from on it. It's just funny because, could you get him to stop saying that, please? I'm like, hey.
No way. They don't really say that.
Yes.
Okay. I'll try.
Because that's not what we call them.
So with that, here we go. Best ACL player to never win a major.
That's awesome.
But I always do qualify it though. You know,
Yeah.
when I say it, I try to kind of talk around a little bit.
And look, you're right. There are people, especially on TV. I don't know about this particular show, but especially on TV, there's people that are tuning in for the first time. That's just a fact. Right. And so you are kind of letting them know.
I'm telling you, I'm the voice of the fans. I'm the voice of the fans.
You are, man. You are.
All right. So you ready to do this?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you, in fairness, Bernie, we just decided to do this morning. So, and Bernie doesn't have access to all of the data and the updated data that I have, but we do have a list of all-time titles that is constantly updated. Obviously, Mark Richards, Tony Smith, added to their titles. But so we were just kind of looking down. So again, I was shocked by two of these names, and maybe like you and I were saying before. I don't know if you want to. How do you want to do that? You want to list your top 3 or 5?
I'm going to have you.
I'm
going to have you do it, and I'm going to play off of you because I don't have all those lists in front of me. Because I know I could go through and give you 5 names, but the fact is I probably would leave off 3 or 4 that should probably be on my list. So
okay, all right, good.
Yeah.
All right, so top 2 names that stuck out to me. I've got quite a few on here. So top 2 names that stuck out to me right away when I was going down the list of titles. So these top 2 names are tied for 13th most all-time wins, career titles in ACL history. They both have 6 career titles, but neither one of these players have won a national or a world championship in singles or doubles.
Okay.
So those first 2 names, and I can't even believe this, Frank Modlin and Ryan Smith, both have 6 career titles, and neither one have won a national or a world championship in singles or doubles. So Frank and Ryan, I'll get your reaction on those 2 first. I mean, I was shocked. I actually double checked all these with Trey.
Frank really does surprise me that somewhere along the line, even in doubles, somewhere along the line, he didn't win one national.
With Jamie, right?
Whomever. He's had some really great partners in the past. Yeah, I mean, he's just been so good for so long. The fact that he just didn't sneak in somewhere along the line with somebody and win a national in doubles, or he's had such deep runs in single. That one shocks me. However, Ryan Smith does not, and I'll tell you why. Ryan Smith, in my opinion, and I love Ryan Smith. He's one of my favorite people, as personally, but on our tour. But as far as a player, at least for right now, he's had some decent runs in doubles at nationals and worlds. But his game, he just seems to be so much better in round limited formats. And I think because in round limited formats, you basically have to have your A game for about 15 minutes, right? Maybe 20 minutes.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. In nationals, you've got to have your A game for hours on end. And I don't know if Ryan, there's an inconsistency at times with his play. And when you have to play at that level for so long, I just don't know if he's ever going to win. I don't think I can't believe I'm saying this. Unless he makes a couple changes to his game, I don't think he ever wins a national in singles. However, I could see him doing it in doubles.
Yes. You know what? I can't say right now. I can't say I disagree with you.
But Frank,
I mean, never is a really strong word, but
I could see it happening in doubles. It would make sense. Yeah. But singles, I just don't know that the depth of talent is so extreme right now. But Frank Modlin, playing in the ACL, and look, I am not denigrating any person that played in the ACL 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. I'm not. You're all still amazing. And some of you are still being talked about, top 20 players in the world, amazing doubles players, yada, yada, yada. But if we're all being honest with ourselves, the talent level now is far superior throughout the pro division than it was then. So the fact that Frank somehow didn't get one is mind-boggling to me.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling.
All right, let's throw a couple more in here. So Frank and Ryan were the first 2 that popped up. A couple other obvious ones. Devin Harbaugh. Hard to believe.
Yeah. Devin.
4 career titles, never a national or a world championship on the singles or doubles side. And Jimmy Humans, another really good player. I mean, solid fundamentally. We all love his bag.
Yeah.
But those were 4 that stuck out right away. And then another one. I've got more, but another one that snuck in. I'll get your thoughts. In between Frank and Ryan and Devin and Jimmy, Josh Holland. Josh has 5 career titles, so he's right behind Frank and right behind Ryan, but has never won a national or a world championship. Devin's
going to, and it wouldn't, Devin, it wouldn't shock anybody if Devin won this weekend, right? So I mean, it's
right.
Devin's.
So when we get to the end here, maybe he'll end up being the guy.
Yeah, Devin's going to. I would be willing to bet money in the next 2 seasons. Devin has at least one, maybe multiple. Right.
Yeah.
So
all right. So here's a few more names for you. And again, I feel like the list starts to get kind of thin. By the way, just as a side note, here are players who are just dangling off this list. I mean, by the hair of their chin, they do not qualify for this list. Noah Wooten only has 1. Shocked. 1 singles national.
Yeah.
Jay Rubin and Jordan Power, just because they won the world championship, they're off that list. If they hadn't won that, I think for sure their names would be on there. And Tanner Halbert, kind of a name that I'd throw in there. I think Tanner's a really good player, but he has 1 as well. But Noah, Jay, and Jordan, just, I mean, but again, some more current names: Caleb Batson, Hunter
so
Thorne.
So
yeah,
young.
I know. Like I said, I feel like I'm reaching with some of these. I get it. Caleb Batson, Hunter Thorne, Fisher Hamilton. What is he? 17.
Alex Hicks is a 14-year-old. Surprised he hasn't won one yet.
Yeah, his name was on there. Alan Rawls. All right, here's one that's going to blow your mind. And I can't possibly, and Trey and I were texting about this morning. I can't possibly word this as a trivia question because it just can't narrow it down enough for you. By the time I gave Trey a few hints, he finally got it. But he fact checked me on this. There is a name out there that we know who was top 35 last year. He's a top 30 player this year. He's made a couple of great runs at Worlds. Not only has he never won a national or a world championship in singles or doubles, Bernie, he has never won a career title in any category that we keep. All 7 or 8, 9, however many categories we keep, has never won a career title. So I don't know if we want to consider him or not, but he's a name that that we all know, and another guy that we love. And he went head to head in the world championships with Jamie Graham a couple of years ago. The state he plays in is probably one of the most talent-rich states that we have out there. And again, I don't know how to narrow it down more than that without giving it away. You want me to just tell you, or you want to take a guess?
Yeah, just go ahead and tell me. I don't know if I could get there.
AJ Sims.
That's not surprising he hasn't won one, to me.
But no, yeah. I mean, not surprising he hasn't won a
national
major. But any title, never an open or a doubles open. I mean, I'm Trey and I both were shocked. And again, I had Trey check me on that. I'm
surprised he hasn't won an open.
Not great. He's a really good player.
As a doubles open at some point, right? I'm kind of surprised. Yeah. I'm even surprised maybe even a shootout doubles win.
Yep.
Singles doesn't surprise me. AJ has some inconsistencies in his game. Once again, another player is probably going to punch me in the face for saying this stuff, but I love AJ. I really do.
He's a good dude. I think he'll be okay with that.
There are some inconsistencies in his game at times.
Yeah.
His top level is right there with anybody.
Yeah,
right?
2020 against Jamie Graham. I thought he was going to take him down.
Yeah, his floor, though, is a little bit deeper than some of the other top players. And so that's what separates all these guys and girls, right?
Yeah.
You put them all with their A+ games, you're not going to see giant differences out there. It's just
they're all so good.
Who's able to grind on their C day, right? And still find a way to hang in there. And some of them, that floor just gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and that's the difference. But yeah, AJ, not terribly surprising.
So you're not gonna throw him in there then, probably as
I'm not. I mean, and I think he's an amazing player, but I don't think I would put him on that list.
Okay, so here's the question for the sake of moving on here. So I'm assuming that our final list here is going to be, like, if I had to narrow it down to 5, take all the younger players out, take Alan Rawls out because he just splashed on the scene this year. I'm assuming we're going to go Frank, Ryan Smith, Devin, Jimmy Humans, Josh Holland. Is that our final 5?
I don't
So you're
know.
taking AJ out. I mean, I'm telling
I
you, I
don't
went through a
know.
lot of
There's
names.
got to be some other people in there, though. I mean,
no, they've all snuck in. I'm telling you, there's big names in there. I mean, if you can think of somebody, I've got the list right here. I'll check it. But I'm telling you, we went through this thing, and like I said, Noah, Jay Rubin, Jordan Power, Jacob Trzynski, Tanner Halbert, all these guys have at least one.
Yeah,
they've all snuck in, even on the double side. And right now, we're talking singles and doubles. If we just went singles, Bernie, oh yeah, there's a lot of big names out there that have not won singles national or a singles world championship.
To me, Frank and Devin are the two that stick out. Frank just for the longevity and the amount of time. I mean, and he was playing at a very high level when like I said, the depth of talent then isn't what it is now. So I'm surprised at some point then he didn't sneak one. Devin, just from a talent perspective.
I'm with you. I really like Josh. I really like. I'm trying to take my bias of Josh Holland out of it, of the fact that there is just nothing exciting about his personality. So I'm trying to take that out of it because he's a really, really good player. We just don't know much about him because he's just so quiet. And that's like we talked about last week's show. Nothing wrong with that. So
Nothing
I'm trying
wrong
to take
with
that bias out of it. I might, if it were me, well, I don't know. It's tough to take Frank. Down. But yeah, all right. So maybe Frank and Devin are the
Devin. I mean, those two to me stand out. I think Devin, though, the bad thing about Devin, he was kind of finding himself as a player during a couple of those years. Everyone knew the talent. Like if you wanted to see crazy shots, there were like 3 guys you would go find, and Devin would be one of them. Yeah. But he was a touch inconsistent. Now that he's kind of getting rid of that inconsistency, all you see is great shots, right? So it's like, man, I think he wins his coming up. You know what? He's Phil Mickelson. That's who Devin Harbaugh
that's what I'm looking for. So we got to pick one. So we going Frank.
He's
going
Phil
Devin?
Mickelson. Yeah, he's Phil Mickelson before Phil won. Best player on the planet, not to win a golf major, but the talent was undeniable. Everyone knew it was coming, and when he started winning, he won 7. And during the Tiger Woods era, right? So
you're going Devin. You're going Devin Harbaugh.
I think Devin, to me, just altogether talent, everything is though surprising. Frank's right there at 1A.
I as much as for the sake of the show and for entertainment would like to disagree with you. My gut feeling when I made this list was Devin.
Yeah.
So I think that's okay.
So right now he's on that list, right? I mean, you look at his contemporaries. Yep. Still a young man, right? Still a very young guy. Sure. But when you look at his contemporaries, they've all found a way at some point, right? I mean, look, there are players that have won nationals that aren't even pros anymore.
Yeah,
aren't good enough. I mean, aren't really good enough to compete at the pro level anymore.
The list is fun to watch. Yeah,
and the fact that some of these guys haven't, it's insane to me. Yeah. I mean, I think it's tough with like a Cheyenne Bubenheim because she's won women's events.
A lot of them.
But she hasn't won, and I think her name should be on
shootout events. She's won a lot of shootouts.
But only with women, I think. But I think she's good enough, even though she's kind of dropped now into kind of, if you look at the rankings, into the top 30, where she was kind of top 10, top 15. She had a bad national, and that always takes your ranking down. But I think Cheyenne should be on the list. But
she can be if you want her to be.
I think she's on my list.
Would you put her? But
I would put her ahead of Ryan Smith. I'd put her ahead of Ryan Smith.
All right, so Devin's our guy.
Yep.
All right, so
I think Devin
player
has that
in the ACL to never win a major is Devin Harbaugh. All right. Hey, all right, you ready? We got to do top 10. We're going to run out of time.
Are we really almost up? Golly, man, it is crazy how fast.
No, that's. I figured we'd spend some time on that, so that's why I wanted to get to it.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Top 10. All right, going into the third national.
Yes.
Of the year. You want to go first? You want me to?
I'll go first. I'm keeping it. It's look. It's a lot of the same names except for one name at my number 8 spot. I still have Kyle Malone and Matt Guy tied at number 10, even though their rankings suggest no, because last national killed them both. Mm-hmm. They had Kyle Malone especially goes 1 and 2. That hey, your ranking's gone at that point. You're destroyed. I still think we're talking about an elite player, and it's kind of crazy to me, Jeff. Beginning of the year, who was the best player on the planet?
Yes,
Kyle Malone, and so he's in this.
Yep.
I got Jake Gore at 9. All right, he's still hanging in there. It's a 2 seed. I mean, we're talking a top 10 ranked player in the world. Number 8, coming in.
You're doing the tied for 10, by the way. You're cheating, but that's okay.
Yeah, I'm a cheater. So number 8, because he just won the Open this past weekend as the last player entered into the tournament. And the fact that he's able to do it with his playing style, number 8, you got to throw Double D in there.
I knew you were going to do that.
Damon Dennis, let's go. Finding a way for all the old guys, man. And then, 7 through 1 is kind of the same as it's always been. I got 7, Joe K. Joe Niestedt, still that guy. Mark Richards, even though probably should be higher, I've got him at 6. 5, even though his ranking suggests he should be nowhere near the top 10. I don't think you're paying attention if you don't have Tony Smith in your top 10. I've got him at 5. If Alan Rawls wins another bracket at a national, I've talked with Trey. I don't think anyone's ever won 3 straight brackets and 3 straight nationals. If he does that, we've got to start talking about that guy on a completely different level. But I've got Alan Rawls.
I love that. That's a great stat.
Devin Harbaugh, number 3. Number 2, Alex Rawls. And all I did this week was flip 1 and 2. Justin Burton Jr., because his ranking is number 1. I'm going to put him at number 1 on mine.
Wait a second. Where'd you have Mark Richards?
6.
Whoa, wow. Even after winning the shootout.
Shootouts and nationals are different.
Okay. No, I get it. All right. Well, so I'm going to be in trouble with mine right away. Joe Niestedt. So I took a little different approach this week with mine. I'm thinking top 10 players who I think actually can win. Sure. Who have a proven track record of winning. Because you have to learn how to win. You have to do it, and you have to learn how to win. And I think there are some people that we have at this sport who play at a very high level who are still learning how to win and be a champion. So that's a transition.
Hold on. Was Joe Niestedt on our list?
You just read my mind. I took Joe Niestedt.
He's got to be on that list. He's got to be on that list of our top players to never win. Has he won?
But would you put him ahead of Devin Harbaugh though?
No. But he, the fact that we weren't talking about him is insane.
Yeah. Hang on. If you want me to check it, we got 2 minutes left. Let me look at the list.
For some reason, I thought he snuck a doubles in there at some point, but I don't think so.
Sorry, I'm having to go down because he doesn't have a whole lot of titles. This goes by number of career titles. 1. Yeah. All right. Here's Joe Niestedt. He has 1 career title, and that was a singles open. Yep. So no. So yes, he's on there, but
not ahead
again.
Of
I didn't put him ahead because some of these other guys have more career titles.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, go back to this. I actually took Joe Niestedt off my list. I'm going to say something that's going to be controversial. Maybe they can learn from it. Maybe not. I think that Joe Niestedt and Jeremy Schermerhorn need to dial it in. I think they're too loose. I think they are terrific players, but I think they're too loose on the broadcast court. And if they were to lock in just a little bit more, they can
on the broadcast court because no one can touch him on the floor.
Exactly. Just lock it in. Just take it just a little bit more seriously as a pro and put the hammer down just a little bit. You can tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, and I might. And Jeremy
on the broadcast
court, Jeremy might beat me up,
court,
which he very easily could do.
Yeah, broadcast court, you're 100% right, but no one is touching them in bracket play and nationals.
Totally get it. The broadcast court, dial it in, brother. Both of them. So Joe Niestedt off my list for this week. So again, a little bit different twist. I got to be quick with this. Yep. So those in my mind who I think can actually win, right? Proven. Mm-hmm. Number 10, I had to put Alan Rawls in there only because he's been great so far in the first 2 nationals. In my mind, I don't know if he can win. So that's kind of the one caveat to this, but I couldn't not have him on my list. Yeah. So Alan, number 10, Jake Gore, number 9, Kyle Malone, number 8. I put Ryan Windsor. This is where my list changes. I put Ryan Windsor at number 7. I think he's really trending in a positive direction after his last performance.
I think Ryan Windsor could easily win.
And Adiri. Tony Smith, number 6. Matt Guy, number 5. Maybe you should have flipped those 2. Devin Harbaugh, number 4. Justin Burton Jr., number 3. Mark Richards, he's winning everything. He's winning in opens in his career. He's winning shootouts. He's winning nationals. He's a great player. He's number 2. And I've got Alex Rawls at number 1. And I can't wait to watch Alex play this upcoming weekend to see if he can carry that momentum and keep it going because he's got a chance to be this got a chance to be a special season for Alex.
Absolutely.
All right. I'm out of breath. We got 10 seconds left.
Way to go, man.
All right. Good show, brother. That was fun.
That was awesome.
Safe travels. I will see you in the great Northwest.
See you in a couple days.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Bye.